Mumbai's skyline is evolving, and so is its real estate story. Once defined by iconic addresses like Malabar Hill, Bandra and Colaba, the city's property pulse is now shifting, thanks to a wave of infrastructure upgrades. With the coastal road, metro corridors and the Atal Setu connecting far-flung areas, neighborhoods once seen as distant like Borivali, Mira Road and Vikhroli are fast becoming investment magnets. From end-user traction in Mira Dahisar to luxury deals in Borivali and commercial growth spilling into Vikhroli and BKC, Mumbai's micro-markets are buzzing. But with soaring prices and a flood of new supply, is the momentum real or are we heading for a cool-off? Hi there, I am Nandita Khemka, and on this episode of Realty Returns, we decode how Mumbai's property map is being redrawn and where the next big opportunities may lie. But first, here's a quick look at this special report. Mumbai's real estate is undergoing a shift, and so are its hottest micro-markets. With infrastructure upgrades like the coastal road, metro lines and Atal Setu, new neighborhoods are stepping into the spotlight. Once considered distant, Borivali has seen a 21% rise over 5 years. A 4 BHK recently fetched 14 crore rupees here, outpacing even Santa Cruz. Mira Road and Dahisar are gaining momentum too, driven by end-user demand rather than just investors. On the eastern side, Chembur has posted a 14% rise in home prices over the past 5 years, but height restrictions may limit long-term supply. Meanwhile, Vikhroli, with its Grade A offices and proximity to Powai, has seen an 18% jump in home prices over the last 5 years. Even Mahim and Dadar are back in demand, offering strategic location and new redevelopment inventory. Still, investors must tread carefully. Analysts warn that rapid price jumps and excessive supply in these new hotspots could create pressure down the line. For those looking to buy, it is advisable to focus on infrastructure trends, monitor actual demand, and invest where growth aligns with stability. Because in a transforming Mumbai, smart location choices could reshape your returns for the next decade. So which micro markets hold the highest potential for price appreciation, and what risks should buyers keep in mind? To break it all down, I'm joined in our studios by Chintan Vasani, founder partner at WiseBiz Realty and joint treasurer at Naredco NextGen India. Chintan, always lovely to have you in our studios. Let me begin our discussion. We're talking about the hottest micro markets in Mumbai per se, but let me start with throwing some numbers at you. I was just going through an ANAROC report, and they said that Mumbai clocked nearly 52,900 property registrations between Jan to April. Out of this, April alone hit a 7-year high with registrations of 13,000 and above. Prices have also increased during this period. We've seen a 1.57 crores, that's the average home price, which is up 54% since 2021. What's driving this surge? Is this driven by end users, or is it the investor class that's driving this up move?
Thank you, Nandita, for having me. And yes, real estate the trajectory is going up and up. If you study it in more detail, 85% of the home buying has happened in western suburbs. If you say investors or people who want to actually buy their own home, 80% are the people who are actually upgrading their home or buying a new home, and 10 to 15% are investors. So that's a very healthy thing when you see as a real estate person who is tracking the market. Demand is there. You can understand everyone wants to upgrade their home or buy a home. A very interesting data again, only 25% of Indians who can buy home as on today have actually been able to buy a home of their own, which is a very small percentage. So even if this keeps on happening for next 10 years, the market going up year on year, month on month, we'll only be able to touch 45% home ownership. So I feel we still need to buckle up. We need the numbers have to still go higher. If you remember in the last episode which I had with you, we had spoken about China. The worst year of China was 1.2 crore homes, which was the worst year for them. The best year for us was 650,000 homes, which is again a number which is much lesser than that. So I think it is just the start. Real estate, as I always said, it's going up, up, up. You have to make your decision as the best time to buy real estate was yesterday, which you have missed. So if you have not bought, today is the best time.
Okay, so the best time to buy is now. But the big question is, where should one buy? So if you look at the Mumbai, huge market of Mumbai, which are the micro markets according to you that's seeing the best traction? Because you mentioned the western suburbs saw much more traction than the eastern suburbs. But within the western suburbs, which are the clusters that are witnessing a lot more demand now?
So Nandita, I would tell you, like, infra is playing the biggest role today in home buying. The generation which is working today, they don't want to spend a lot of time traveling or in the traffic. So they're looking for homes which are very near to their workplace. Workplaces who are starting their new offices, like, we had a very big brand, Morgan Stanley, opening one of the biggest offices of Asia in Goregaon, which is a very off, a lot of people were not very, they were like, why did they open such a big office there? But it made so much sense for them because a lot of people working in their office would be more comfortable traveling to that particular location. They had an entire building for themselves. It made more sense for them. So, one thing which anyone who wants to buy a home, try and buy a home which is very near to your workplace, or if you like your home, change your workplace. If you are a SMB or a medium MSME owner, it has no sense having an office in South Bombay and staying in western suburbs. Right. The traveling makes no sense for you. And today, a lot of people don't have a problem traveling to your office if it's in a proper hub. And things are changing, Nandita. I have to tell you, a lot of big, like today, if you tell me the legal practices, they are also moving to a lower parallel address, or they are also moving to a BKC, which had never happened. Yeah. They wanted to be in Fort. So, things are happening for a better thing. Western suburbs, if you ask me, like 85% of the transactions that happened were from western and eastern suburbs. And western suburb had an edge because, because the metro is really working for western suburbs. Coastal road, again, it's gonna come. Coastal road ka only the thought of how it will make things easier is helping western suburbs. The second most interesting thing, Nandita, what has happened is people staying in one particular area have become very comfortable in that area. Now they also have workplace in the same area. They have an ecosystem. Their parents are more comfortable in that area. Their kids go to a school which is much nicer for them. They don't want to change the school.
Looking for home upgrades within the same area.
Within the same area. And now people, micro markets are everywhere. Like every gully has a different pricing. Okay. Every project changes the entire scenario.
So micro markets within a micro market.
That is happening. Like there are, you'll be shocked to know, I know a few micro markets where there is a difference of more than 80% of pricing. One particular project is commanding 80% more than the, just like, I'm not talking even 1 kilometer. I'm just talking about the next project. Okay. So, people have understood what they want. And trophy properties, if you remember, I had spoken about it. Trophy properties are the ones which are changing everything.
Okay, so let's talk about the Worli belt. You spoke about it briefly. What is trending there? Sea view apartments, redeveloped projects, or branded residencies, and who is investing there in particular? International players, or do you think it's again being led by end users only?
So again, we'll have to study that particular data amongst the projects. There are a few projects which have got almost 30 to 40% investors. There are a few projects which has 100% people who are actually staying there. So, again, people of the same vicinity are the ones who are taking interest. South Bombay people find Worli super convenient for everything. Now, one interesting thing, Nandita, I have to tell you is, 5 years back or 2 years back, people used to say, how good connectivity South Bombay, आपके घर से South Bombay की connectivity कितनी अच्छी है. That derived a lot of importance. Now it is different. Now the South Bombay से where the hubs are there, उसका connectivity कितना अच्छा है. Like BKC is very near to Worli. That is also working for them. Second, the developments, the open land, what Worli has enjoyed, Lower Parel has enjoyed, very few micro markets have enjoyed in the past. There are big players, good players, and making, again, lifestyle amenities wala project. Now, people just don't want a 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK. They want to stay in an ecosystem. They want like-minded people with them where they are staying. They want their kids to communicate, go to schools. Like today, also one very important thing is if you stay in one particular pin code, the schools only accept your admission if you are in that pin code, because it makes sense. When you say I want to work in some area, I don't mind traveling 1 hour, but if you are putting your kid in that 1 hour travel, it's like the most stupid thing you can do to them. So again, Worli, everything is working right because the right infra developments are coming at the right time. Again, you can see the Indian growth story. People have made a lot of money in a lot of businesses, and they have at the end understood your home is where you have to keep majority of your investments.
What is the scope for capital appreciation here? What will be the resale value, say, 2-3 years down the line?
In Worli, I feel you still will have a few projects where you will get a good appreciation. Buying under construction, you see massive growth. But when you have bought a home which is ready to move, now rentals, if you consider, even if you are able to give tens of lakhs or 20 of lakhs, you might not get a house in that particular community. So you also have to understand that real estate is never like an investment which can be compared with gold or like, stock market. It's something which you are using it every day. So it's something, if you want to buy, then only you have an access to that particular home. Yes, the growth will be there, but not as much growth in Worli. That is what I feel. Then the other western suburbs market, which still has a lot of growth potential. Something like a Mulund or a Dahisar or a Borivali, the growth will be much higher than what you can expect in Worli.
Let's also talk about Vikhroli, because that's also coming up as a commercial hub, because areas like BKC and Powai are getting overcrowded, right? So how are the trends shaping up in Vikhroli, and could that be one of the hubs that people should look at now?
I think Vikhroli is already a hub right now, if you ask me. And not only Powai, but also Chembur. People are preferring Vikhroli over Chembur. A lot of micro markets. The beauty about Chembur is people in Chembur want to stay there. But when you say someone from outside, there are few people who would select Chembur as an option. But Vikhroli, it's different. People not from Vikhroli, but from outside are actually understanding the importance of JVLR, understanding the other connectivity what Vikhroli enjoys. Second, a lot of commercial hubs are commercial offices are moving to Vikhroli. So Vikhroli is actually helping Mulund, where I see a good growth happening. Bhandup, again, not very near, but again, that is also helping the growth of that particular area. So every micro market has multiple reasons, not one. And then there would be one project which has the best planning, the best amenity, that is actually taking more than 10 to 15 to 20% premium over its competitor. So understanding that is very important.
Sure, since you mentioned Chembur, I want to touch upon it. It has its own appeal, right? I mean, you also have Bollywood personalities, sports personalities staying there. You have lush green fields over there. You have the golf course as well. But there are restrictions in terms of heights. Would that impact capital appreciation in the area of Chembur?
See, unfortunately, I don't have any ongoing projects there, but because we study the market, a lot of top developers are not able, the traction what they get in different parts of Mumbai, they don't get in Chembur. As I told you, Chembur has one very different thing than what the Mumbai market is, where a local Chemburkar wants to stay there. Yes. But someone moving out, like of course a New Bombay, someone staying in Vashi, they have moved into Chembur because it makes more sense after all, connectivity. But New Bombay has its own thing going on. Like, now people are even talking about Mumbai 3.0. So I'll not be shocked if a lot of people who moved from Mumbai to New Bombay now will opt for Mumbai 3.0 because they were the smart ones who understood, how the Mumbai infrastructure is growing. So again, Chembur is one market where I don't see a lot of growth happening in terms of your price appreciation, but a very nice, leafy, chilled out neighborhood. I love playing golf there, but there are other markets which will see much higher growth.
Okay, let's talk about the Dahisar Mira Road belt now. We spoke about it briefly, but there was a 4 BHK sale that happened in Borivali West, right? 56,000 rupees per square foot, if I'm not mistaken. A record 14 crores. I mean, that's the kind of, price it commanded. And that's outpaced areas like Santa Cruz, so to say. So, are we going to see more such headline grabbing deals when it comes to remote areas, but not remote anymore because of the better connectivity?
So again, Nandita, Dahisar, Mira Road, it's a different belt. This transaction happened in Borivali, and I feel it's an undervalued transaction. It should be much higher, because I also happen to stay in that same locality and same building. Now, again, to understand, Borivali is a very interesting market. A Borivali person staying there, even if you give them a house at a Worli sea face, a bigger house at a much lesser price, he will not buy it, because he's more comfortable in that ecosystem. Now, this building which you are talking about, it had an international architect, James Law. He's from Hong Kong, a legacy developer, a very good developer, made multiple projects there. The floor to ceiling height is the biggest, is the the highest which you can see anywhere in the country today. The density of people to that particular area is much lesser, so compared to any other project. So all these things are helping a particular project to become a trophy property. So the Aquaria, the project that we are talking about, now it's a case study in itself, because that particular project has identified what is the micro market's requirement. They have understood that this particular area has people who are okay to shell out 10, 15, 20, 25 crores for a location like Borivali, and they were able to get them in that particular project. Now, Dahisar Mira Road belt, again, it's a different market altogether. Dahisar is the start of Mumbai. Mira Road, if you study the data, the highest number of channel partners in a density, highest in the world. I'm not talking about Mumbai, I'm not talking about Maharashtra or India. Highest in the world. I'll not be shocked if it is Mira Road. The kind of development happening there, it is insane. Now, Mira Road, before 20, 25, 30 years was almost nothing. It's come up as a new location. Dahisar is a location which has been there from last 40, 50, 60 years. So if you want locality and if you want a Mumbai pin code, Dahisar becomes the best option for you. If you want to move to a new area and if you want something 30% down, Mira Road becomes your option. And Borivali, again, it's a totally different. So again, whatever I'm talking is 4-5 kilometers radius. But still, the market is so different. That is the beauty of Mumbai, I would say. It's like the best of all the worlds.
But what about Thane? It was a value buy at one point in time, but now it's becoming more of a lifestyle upgrading kind of a scenario. Because there is better connectivity, of course. There are striking new amenities, but have these factors dramatically increased the appeal of Thane, Godbandar, and Pokhran areas?
All the top listed players have been in Thane since last 10-15 years. They have delivered over 10, 15, 20,000 apartments. People from South Bombay moved to western suburbs. From western suburbs or from South Bombay, the other option was Thane. And the ones who actually moved to Thane got the highest appreciation. And I'll not be shocked in next 10 years if we are doing a next show, Thane prices would be higher than South Mumbai. There are chances of that happening because the kind of infra development which has happened there. Again, Nashik is much nearer to Mumbai, much nearer to Thane. The kind of development coming from that particular corridor is next level. Even you see IT companies, a lot of them have good presence in Thane. Vikhroli, Powai, again good connectivity to Thane. So again, Thane has all the right things happening at the right time. And the best thing is the developments are all by big players, by good architects. And just few months back, we heard about, in the morning 7 a.m., there was a line for people to buy apartment in that particular project. And 2-3 days, everything was sold out. So these things are actually happening on the ground. Understanding why makes a lot of sense, and buy a home which is near to your workplace. I think that is the simplest thing that you can do. And if you want to invest, invest in a property which can be rented tomorrow. That makes more sense.
A ready-made.
And if you study again the Mumbai data, the most interesting thing, resale flats, 40 to 50% resale flats happen in the same building. So the person who wants to buy a flat is actually your neighbor. So that is also one of the very interesting scenarios of Mumbai.
We've spoken about a lot of these up and coming, hotspots when it comes to micro markets. But which are those pockets where you see there is oversupply? There are risks of overheating. One should completely avoid. I mean, which ones are these? Which ones should so people avoid when it comes to realty investment or even buying a home?
If you are thinking as only as investment, I think you can always avoid Chembur because that market is not as fast as the other markets. Western suburbs, if you ask me, there is Malad is one market which is doing good, but the appreciation which you might get at a place like a Dahisar would be much higher. Western Express Highway will always have that charm. So, something on the SV Road. So, SV Road, Western Express Highway and the Link Road in Western suburbs. If you ask me, I would prefer being on the Link Road or the Western Express Highway when I'm investing. A very interesting data again, if you study the Western Express Highway, only Parla and Dahisar are the two areas where East has always been higher than the West. Pricing wise, the community wise. So identifying all those things are very important. In Mumbai, you can't go wrong. 10 का 20 होगा, 20 का 30 होगा, या 10 का 11 होगा. But 10 will never come down to 9. And if anyone is saying the Mumbai is a bubble and prices will fall, I think he's the most stupid person and he doesn't understand the market. There is a need and that is driving people, that is making real estate developers make good products, and there is a genuine need of home buyers. Investors, when they play a big role, that there is a time of prices coming or correcting, but these are genuine buyers buying homes. So very difficult for price crashing or not getting a good return.
Very quick rapid fire with you as we wrap up. Would you rather live in a sea view 2 BHK in Worli or a 3 BHK with amenities in Thane's Pokhran Road 2?
If my office is in Thane, Thane will be my option. But if my office is in South Bombay, I'll live in a 1 BHK sea view apartment rather than a 2 or going to Thane. My office will play a very big role.
Should one rather rent in Bandra than own in Mira Road?
If you are in the age group below 40 and you want to have a Bandra lifestyle, it makes more sense to be in Bandra, enjoy your life. But home ownership is the best thing and the only thing you should target in life.
Okay, that's one. Okay, so this is a myth buster. Will South Bombay always rule no matter where the infra boom is? But I think you've already made a point that Thane will compete with South Mumbai.
I also love my South Bombay people who might be watching it. South Bombay has Bombay in it, has Mumbai in it. It will always rule. Anything which has Mumbai, even Mumbai 3.0, you can see how big it is happening. So anything that has Mumbai, it has to rule.
Okay, and lastly, 4 BHK in Lower Parel for 6 crore rupees with no parking, or a penthouse in Thane for 3.5 crore rupees, which is 15 minutes from metro. Which one should one opt for and why?
Even if I have a 1 BHK, I'll buy that if it has parking. Parking, if you see, the appreciation is much higher than a home. आपका घर का जो आप rates देखोगे, what it has gone up, it might have gone up, but I know about a few buildings in India, in Mumbai, where a parking is more than 1 crore rupees. So if you don't have a parking, please don't buy a home. Parking is a must.
This wraps up our rapid fire round with Chintan. But Chintan, thanks a lot on that note for taking our time and coming to our studios. Always a pleasure chatting with you, and I look forward to more conversations on the show.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Moneycontrol, and thank you, Nandita, for having me.
Thank you. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Realty Returns. Do share any suggestions or feedback that you may have in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to the Moneycontrol YouTube channel. We'll see you next week. Until then, goodbye and take care.